Welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about the object-oriented paradigm, specifically how to create new objects and how they work internally. So, first, let's recall what an object was. An object is an instance of a given type, and we have many different types defined in Python, for example, strings or integers. Objects can store values, so for example, in this case, hello world, and they can also contain operations, such as transforming a string to uppercase with s.upper in the example below. They have three main characteristics. First, they have an identifier, which is unique for the object across the program. No two objects will have the same identifier, and it cannot be changed. However, this is not the same as the variable to which it is assigned, but an internal ID that helps us determine whether two objects are the same or not. It also has a type, which cannot be changed, and is, for example, a string or an integer or any user-defined type that we can choose. And it will help us detect which values can be stored within this object and which methods can be called on this object. And finally, it has values stored inside the object. For example, in a string, it will be the set of characters that represents the string. In an integer will be the integer value of the number we are representing. In some times, this value can be changed, but in others it can't. Recall Unit 2 from the CS1 course. Of course, every object will be stored in a variable, and that variable contains a pointer to memory. But let's see an example to clear our heads. So, in this case, we can define n equals 10. N is a variable which contains a reference to an object, which is shown here in red. And that object can be printed, or we can obtain the ID, which is internal and doesn't give us any meaning. In this case, it's a long number referring to the memory position on our system. Of course, we can also see the type, which is an integer, shown in Python as the word int, class int. And we can check with is_instance whether an object is a member of the type that we are asking. In this case, is n an instance of the class int, and it responds true. If we want to define an object, so for example a square, we first want to know mentally what the properties or attributes of our square will be. For example, are we interested in knowing the position of the square or just the side? Or do we want to know the color? In this example, we're going to work with a simple square class that represents the color and the size of squares. And of course, we can also define functions or methods, which are the actions that can be performed on this object. In this case, we have the two actions, perimeter and area, which will return two numbers, respectively, the perimeter and the area of this square, based, of course, on its side. All objects have a constructor method, and this is a special method that is called to create a new object. If we call this method repeatedly, we can have different instances or objects of the class or type square shown here. For example, we have a smaller green square and a larger red square. We can give initial values to the attributes of the object, and that is the general purpose of the constructor. Create a new object and give it initial values. Of course, when we create a new object, it's automatically given a position in memory, which will increase the memory footprint and consumption of our program. If our program consumes too much memory, the OS, Windows or Mac OS or whichever, will kill it. So we have to be careful not to waste too much memory. Let's see an example of creating a new object. A new object is created by calling the constructor method, which is called by writing the name of the type in uppercase, in this case, square, and then passing the parameters in parentheses. In this case, the size is 10 and the color is green. Once that happens, the green object above is created with pointers to both the color and the side, and then that green square, a reference to the green square, is copied over to the variable s. And once we have s, we can call methods on the square to find out, for example, its area and its perimeter. If we want to define multiple squares, it's as simple as repeating this operation and storing each of the each of the newly defined squares in different variables. For example, we have a square in variable s, which is green and has side 10, and we have a square on variable q that is blue and has side 5. We can, of course, call the same method on different objects, and we will obtain different results. In this case, the perimeter of s and the perimeter of q are 40 and 20, respectively. Each of these is separate and independent, even though they share the same baseline and the same class. They are different objects and can be interacted completely separately. If we want to compare different squares to check if they are the same, we have different operations. So, even though they both are squares in this case, and they both have the same parameters, they are stored in different locations and they would be edited separately. If we ask whether whether s is q, it will tell us false, because it would be comparing the internal ID of this object, which is of course separate because they have been created as two different objects. But if we can also compare this ID with the equals operation, with two equals characters, and it will also tell us false in this case. And what happens when we don't want to use an object anymore? How can we delete it? Because recall that memory is finite and we have to make good use of it. We have the system called the garbage collector, which is part of Python and will run whenever your program is running. Whenever you have a variable that is inaccessible, so if you have a variable that exists only in a method and the method ends, the variable will disappear, but the object to which the variable was pointing will keep existing. In Python, we have a constantly running service called the garbage collector, which will free up memory as objects are no longer needed, but it will use a bit of our CPU in the process. Let's see an example. So if we have two squares up above, s and q, with two different parameters, one is green, one is blue, the other, one has size 10, the other was side 5, and now we can assign q to s. What's happening there? What happens is that the variable q is being assigned to the green square. So now the blue square doesn't have any reference to it and is considered orphaned. Then, whenever the garbage collector notices this, it will remove this square from memory, and the memory will be freed up to use in whatever we need it to next. And we'll see what we'll use it in the next video.